Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we look at what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Now today I want to talk about the madness in the European Commission that appears to want to destroy everything it can in its ridiculous pursuit to rid the EU of anything imported from Russia, even if it's destructive to its people and the industries of the member states. It appears just when the EU Commission could not inflict any more wounds and pain on their beleaguered industrial sectors, along comes another ill-thought-out and harebrained scheme that will wreak havoc on Europe's manufacturing sector and have no effect on Russia whatsoever. Now, it's been announced that the European Union is poised to impose a ban on aluminium imports from Russia. These restrictions will form part of the 16th package of anti-Russian sanctions. That's because the other 15 failed miserably. In response, the price of the winged metal aluminium has already surged upwards. So let's assess the implications for this ban on Europe and the global market. Now, according to Reuters, the European Commission will propose a draft sanctions package to the EU countries, which will include a ban on the import of Russian aluminium. Now, these restrictions will be introduced in stages, with the first ones due to come in effect as February as part of the 16th package of anti-Russian sanctions. Right. So 15 failed, so they're just doing it again. Now, in the context of the ongoing discussion about sanctions on the Russian metal, the price of aluminium on the London Metals Exchange has surged to $2,600 per tonne. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund my channel and my website SCOBRICSinsight.com to further develop it. You can do this by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now just for watching, because every view is important. Now, in December, the agency reported that at least 10 countries, Poland, Denmark, the Czech Republic, Ireland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Sweden, Finland and Romania, had voiced support for expanding sanctions against Russia, including the trade in metals, including aluminium. Now, the West has been considering a ban on Russian aluminium for some time. That's despite Europe experiencing the serious consequences of its shortage in 2022 due to a significant increase in electricity prices, which led to a 30% decrease in production of the highly intensive aviation material. Now, the European Union's proposed ban on the imports of Russian aluminium, if implemented, could potentially disrupt the market, according to analysts. They've pointed out that such a short-sighted decision would be incredibly bad given Europe's own lack of its production. Now, the problem is that Europe's non-ferrous metallurgy is unable to compensate for it with its own products due to the high electricity tariffs. And even major European players such as Norsk Hydro and Trimet Aluminium are facing serious problems. Now, in the context of Europe's so-called decarbonisation efforts, the demand for aluminium is only going to set to rise. Aluminium is a crucial component in renewable energy sources, electric vehicles and solar panels, making it essential for the development of green projects. So banning Russian imports of aluminium, imports from Russia of aluminium, is nothing short of crazy. Since 2020, aluminium production in Europe has been impacted first by the pandemic, subsequently then by high electricity prices, which account for more than 40% of the final cost of the production of aluminium, because it's a very intensive energy business. Now, in 2023 alone, European enterprises reduced aluminium and zinc production by 50%. Now, the share of aluminium from Russia was around 30% of the volume of total EU imports. It would be pretty challenging to almost impossible to replace it quickly, which is why Europe did not take any such categorical measures in previous packages. Currently, Russia only accounts for around 10% of aluminium imports into Europe, but overall, the volume of aluminium imports by the European is estimated at 350,000 tonnes. However, another 15% of the aluminium imported into Europe is from Turkey and Kazakhstan, which is actually Russian with a different badge on it. Now, the impact of these potential losses on European consumers and businesses cannot be overlooked. The ban on Russian imports could potentially result in a shortage of the metal in Europe, which will negatively impact European processors and their consumers. We saw a similar situation back in 2018 when anti-Russian sanctions led to a 35% increase in aluminium prices to $2,700 per tonne on the London Metals Exchange. Now, this situation will have a particularly severe impact on the European aviation industry, which is still recovering from the energy crisis. There's already discussions in Europe about the onset of the deindustrialization, particularly in Germany. Energy prices in the EU on average are twice as high as they are in the US and China, which is a serious disadvantage in terms of competitiveness and productivity. According to Eurostat data, industrial output in the Eurozone fell by 2.2% and 1.7% from July 2023 to July 2024. Individual countries like Hungary, Germany, Italy and France reported worse results with declines of 6.4%, 5.5%, 3.3% and 2.3% respectively. INEOS, the chemicals giant, highlighted the impact of high energy and operating costs, noting that European manufacturers are at a serious disadvantage compared to Asian exporters who have access to Russian hydrocarbons at lower prices. Now, the situation has been further complicated by the tightening monetary policy of the European Central Bank. Now, according to S&P Global, the trend of plant closures and mothballing of plants is expected to continue well into 2025 as Europe's deindustrialization continues. Any new sanctions against Russian suppliers will lead to a deficit of aluminium by around 25 to 30% and about 15% on the world market. If European supplies are banned, the European countries are now going to have to look for new sources, for example the Middle East, like the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain. But that will intensify competition with other countries and buyers such as the United States, which will lead to additional price increases, as always happens when supply is limited, demand goes up and the price goes up. Analysts had previously warned that the ban on Russian supplies would create a deficit and ignite an aluminium war between Europe and the US for supplies from the Middle East, and they predict that metal prices will surge, causing significant challenges for the European industry. Now, the automotive industry, construction and energy sectors, which are heavily reliant on aluminium, are going to face increased costs, and they're going to be most affected by the consequences of the ban. Now, to try and mitigate the impact of this supply shortfall, they're going to have to explore alternative support sources such as Canada, India, China or the Middle East. However, the capacity of the key suppliers is limited. Right? You've just actually got to say that if you take out one major supplier, there isn't another one there ready to replace it. For instance, China's a primary aluminium supplier, but it has a policy of it's limited its production to 45 million tonnes per year until 2027. And China's either reached that limit or it's about to hit it in the near future. So the growth of production within the country is actually going to slow down, and that's going to decrease the amount of metal exported by maintaining its prices at the level that they want. So in such a scenario, Russia's expected to maintain its efforts to increase its exports to Asia, which is done very successfully. Over the past 2 years, Russia has significantly reorientated its aluminium supplies from the EU to China and Southeast Asia against the backdrop of the protective duties and the refusal to purchase metal from Russia by a number of key processors. They didn't want not to buy it, but it was payment problems there. So yet again, the idiots in the EU inflict wounds on what's left of their industries, and they're making mistaken belief that they're going to hurt Russia, which isn't going to happen. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. If you want to help me out, please like and subscribe and click on the thanks button at the bottom of the screen and make a donation, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.